Welcome to the Tipsy Guest Podcast. I am your host, Marco Buenrostro, and every week I'm here with the top industry experts, amazing clients, and all my vendor BFFs to bring you the best tips, advice, and juicy behind-the-scenes stories to make wedding and event planning a breeze. So grab your favorite drink and let's get this party started! Hey guys, welcome back to the Tipsy Guest. I am Marco, your host, and today I am excited because we're going to be discussing black tie weddings, which is definitely one of my fave ever. And for that, we have an expert, Caroline Gollner from Volare Planning and Design. Hello.
Hi, Marco.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I've been trying to get you to come and do an episode for the longest time. I'm fine. I'm glad that we're finally getting this done because, oh my God, I have to say your weddings are one of my favorites in the industry. Like every time I go through your Instagram feed, it feels like I'm just like going through my Pinterest mood board for my own wedding.
Oh, that's so kind of you. Thank you so much.
Of course. But talk to me. I want to know everything about your business. I mean, how did you get started? When did you start? What inspired you to do this? I mean, again, your stuff is beautiful. So I want to hear everything about how you got started.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Marco, I was one of those young people that spent most of their life trying to figure out what they wanted to be when they grew up. But I didn't realize that it was sort of a metamorphosis happening before my own eyes until I came here. So I started my career in broadcasting.
Ooh, we have that in common.
Yes. So I got my degree in broadcast journalism, and I actually worked at CNN. I worked for Fox, and it didn't take me very long to realize that I just didn't really even like the news.
Oh, no.
So I moved to New York City, and I was always interested in fine dining, food and beverage. And I worked for some pretty prestigious fine dining restaurants in New York and learned as much as I could about fine dining, about wine service, about, what is considered fine dining, what's good. And then I actually worked in bridal fashion showrooms. So I learned a lot about bridal gowns. So kind of mixing those two at the same time, living in New York and working two jobs because it took two jobs to pay the rent.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it was great. And then, of course, post 9/11, because I was living in New York during 9/11, which really ages me. But I moved back to the South, and I was a teacher for almost 10 years.
Wow.
I taught English, so I brought that journalism, career back in. But I had this urge, like, I loved the kids and I loved the people, and I really felt like there was purpose in what I was doing, but I missed that creative edge. And so I decided I'm going to go to interior design school now. So I went to interior design school, and I liked it a lot. I learned a lot. And then I got engaged.
Ooh.
And I planned my own wedding. And after it was over, my husband said, "That was pretty good. I think you need to do this for your job."
Where was your wedding?
It was in Florida. It was in St. Augustine, Florida. It was at a Marriott hotel in St. Augustine called the Casa Monica. It's very similar to the St. Anthony here in San Antonio. It's like an autograph collection hotel.
Ooh.
But it was built by Henry Flagler, and it was adjacent to a museum where I had my ceremony. But it was a beautiful wedding. Intimate, though.
That sounds beautiful. Yeah. So that's how so after your husband said, you need to do this, what was your first reaction to that?
I was like, okay, not much overhead. Got nothing to lose. And I was always a party planner anyway. Anytime anyone was getting married or having a baby, I was always like, let's have a party. I'll plan it. So it just sort of happened.
I like that. That is such a cool, I every time I talk to people, clients, for example, we do their weddings. I mean, you do weddings all the time. We always, at least I always get that vibe from the couples, especially the bride, of course. they're like, they're so into their planning of their wedding and, like all the connections that they made with all the different vendors. And then you always hear that like, ooh, I think I want to do this for a living. I want to start planning, but it's a lot, right? I mean, walk me through, I guess, a day in the life of a wedding planner. Because we were discussing earlier, like, normally here in San Antonio or Central Texas, the summer is so hot that we don't have a lot of weddings happening. So people think that we get a break, but we don't, right?
No.
Talk to me about that.
So wedding seasons in the United States, they vary. But in South Texas, we have really two wedding seasons. It's the spring and it's the fall. In the Northeast, it's the summer. So, of course, we're not having weddings past mid-June. In July and August, very rarely. They start sometimes up mid-September. But the day in the life of a wedding planner, let's say I got up at 4:30 this morning and I have been working ever since planning fall weddings.
Yeah, I think fall weddings for me are my favorite. What's your favorite season?
It's a hard choice. I do love fall weddings, but I love the freshness of spring too. And it's a toss-up, but I love the crispness in the air for the fall. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite venue here in San Antonio?
Favorite venue? Gosh, I can't be partial. There are so many beautiful venues.
We like the drama here at the Tipsy Guest.
I do. I love I love the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
It's timeless. It's beautiful. I love the convenience. I love how it can be a destination wedding. And San Antonio is a destination wedding location where people come to have their destination wedding. They love the Riverwalk. We have beautiful hotels downtown.
We do. That I live here in San Antonio, I don't go to the downtown area as much as I should be going. I try to avoid it. I mean, I hate traffic just in general, but I feel like I should explore downtown more. I used to live downtown and then I got away from downtown and I don't normally go anymore unless it's for an event. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we do have a beautiful downtown.
We do. We have the Riverwalk, and I had a wedding recently where the couple rented one of the cruise boats, the Rio Cruise, and that's how they did their send-off. And it was the sparklers, and there was this beautiful light behind the boat, and it was just so exquisite. I'm thinking, where else in the United States can you leave on a river boat like this? And it was really special.
See, for all of our listeners that are not local to San Antonio, make sure that you check out, all the different venues that we have here in San Antonio. It's a beautiful place. And like Caroline was saying, like the Riverwalk, it's very unique. I mean, I can just imagine the photos and the videos of the send-offs that you're talking about right now. Like it's just something that's going to look so pretty. And then the lighting at the Riverwalk, like I love the lighting during the holidays. But even when it's not the holidays, the lighting down there at the Riverwalk, it's always so pretty. I feel like it photographs really, really beautiful.
It does. I can't wait for the gallery to come back.
Yes. Okay. So, I mean, I keep mentioning this because I am a huge fan of your work. And I always see your stuff and it's always so stunning. So as a company, your brand, your philosophy, what does Volare stand for? I want to hear all about that.
Well, thank you. For those of it know me personally, know that I'm like completely obsessed with Italy.
Yeah, I do know that because I'm always so jealous when you travel to Italy all the time.
I know. People are like, why don't you go anywhere else? Like, why are you always in Italy? And I've tried. It's just every time I go somewhere else, I get disappointed. I wish I was in Italy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I travel a lot. And I know every time I see you out at events, we always end up talking about trips. But yes, Italy, definitely a fave. But talk to me. Okay, sorry, Volare, I didn't mean to cut you off. Right?
No, you're fine. Volare is Italian, and it means to fly. And when I started this business, of course, I was just coming out of being a bride myself and just all in love. And I thought, oh, that's such a pretty word for a wedding business, to fly, because when you're in love, you feel like you're flying. And so that's where it comes from. And there's a famous song too.
I lie. I know you were just singing it right now before we started recording.
Being tipsy.
Oh my goodness. It's all about being tipsy. All right, Caroline. So now let's talk about our main topic today, which is black tie weddings. I mean, I want to know everything. I mean, what are the guidelines? What's the right etiquette? Like, I mean, sometimes wedding gifts can be a little complicated. And even if you tell them how to dress for your wedding, they just show up with something completely different. I mean, what is the right way of doing a black tie wedding?
Okay, so first of all, that's the main discussion is that the dress code black tie, it must match the actual event. So we have a lot of couples that come to us like, oh, I want to have a black tie wedding. And I'm like, great. I'm so excited. I would love to help you plan that. But there are some guidelines as far as planning the event. So if you think about the cost that's involved in your guest purchasing attire for a black tie wedding, a tuxedo rents for around $200. A gown, a floor-length gown, which is black tie attire, can cost to upwards of around $300. If you have 150 wedding guests and only 80% of them choose to buy new or rent new attire, they're investing about $30K into your wedding. If perhaps that extra 20% that's maybe wearing something that they already own, but perhaps they buy shoes, then they're investing $40,000 into your wedding. So you're requiring your guests to dress and play a part, and they have expectations that are involved. So it's important for you to recognize that they're not just dressing up for you. You need to give them a reason to dress up. And usually a black tie wedding, the expectations are the venue. It must be an elegant location, an estate, a historic building, something really interesting. And then, invitations usually are, nice paper, nice presentation. Floral arrangements are usually pretty robust. The dining, it should be a plated entree, sometimes multi-course even. With wine service, champagne service, top shelf, full bar, all those special details. And then also some guest experience details too, like photo booth or even a guest experience that results in like a nice favor or gift for the guest. Usually a show band is a significant part of the event too. But having said all that, you don't have to break the bank to have a black tie wedding. Just because you can't afford like all of these major things that could result into a wedding that's over $100,000. You can still have a black tie attire, perhaps by keeping the guest list short, maybe putting large floral arrangements on every other table, or doing just a single plated entree with mostly premium brands for the bar with glassware. There are ways to scale it down, but still get the aesthetic that you want.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, about, I guess, like the average, talking about budget. So let's say, for example, if it's a wedding, so what would be considered, let's say, for example, a big wedding? What's the amount of guests for a big wedding?
Oh, in Texas or the regular world?
I would say in Texas. Let's say Texas.
I would say a large wedding to me is 300 guests. 300.
Okay, so more or less based on about 300 guests, what would be an ideal budget for a black tie wedding?
For 300 guests?
Yeah.
Probably over $100,000 for that amount of guests. Yes.
Wow. Okay. And then let's say if you want to, of course, still do a black tie wedding, but what would be considered a very small wedding, like an intimate wedding?
Under 50 people.
Under 50. And what would be the budget for something like that? Let's say 50.
For a black tie wedding under 50, I believe that you could do it for around $60,000 to $75,000.
Okay. All right.
If you were smart with your decisions.
Yeah. Have you ever done any destination weddings, or do you try to just do weddings here in San Antonio, the Hill Country, Austin?
Oh, I do weddings mostly in San Antonio, but definitely in the Hill Country area too.
Could let's say, for example, the Hill Country, I know you mentioned right now that the venue would really need to match the vibe, if you're really wanting to go for a black tie. Do you think we have something here in the area, in the hill country area of San Antonio, Austin, that could be considered a great space for a black tie wedding? And you don't have to give me a name, but just, do you think we have that?
I think that we do. I think that I'm thinking of a few places that I think that would be suitable for that. Places that I know that I've done more black tie events at. The Mission, Lost Mission.
Yeah,
yes, it's very lovely.
I loved Lost Mission.
Me too.
It's one of the venues that you feel like you're not even here, like you're not in San Antonio. Like it just, I don't know, it just feels so.
That chapel is so pretty.
Yes, I love that one. I think I've done a couple of black tie weddings at the Preserve as well.
Yes, the Preserve. I just did a black tie wedding at the Preserve.
Yeah, I like the Preserve. I personally, I think I like working weddings in the hill country versus going back to downtown. I love downtown for, if I go as a guest, but as a vendor, I think sometimes it's harder for us as vendors to do weddings downtown because of the loading situation.
Yeah.
Parking situation and all of that. Like the whole behind the scenes for a wedding, it's a little rough for us vendors. For the guest experience, downtown is amazing. But I feel for us vendors, I personally prefer out like in the hill country.
Yeah, I've had some pretty crazy situations where florists were trying to deliver flowers at the St. Anthony and couldn't find a place to park, and the road's blocked, and I'm meeting them in the alley, and we're unloading, and I'm trying to figure out how to get the alarm off the back door so the fire alarm doesn't go off at the hotel, and we're trying to unload, and it's always hectic downtown, and then you need an elevator to get up, and
there's always something unexpected happening downtown.
Always.
We just had a wedding a few weeks ago where there was a huge protest happening at Travis Park, and the wedding was at the St. Anthony. So it was known that the protest was going to be happening that day. So of course, the wedding planner reached out to all of us, all the vendors, and they pretty much told us like, hey, make sure you go with enough time, be prepared, because there's going to be a lot of people at the park. There's going to be this going on, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, these are things that, happen, or construction. I mean, there's always construction downtown. So it's a little challenging sometimes, but again, the venues downtown, lovely. And I feel like we do have a lot of different options downtown for black tie events. I have to say, the St. Anthony has to be one of my favorite venues when it comes to black tie. I mean, the Peacock Alley at the St. Anthony, it's just beautiful. I mean, the chandeliers, like everything is just stunning.
It's so elegant. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So now question, when it comes to the vendors, right now that we're talking about vendors, what are the expectations for vendors when it comes to a black tie event? What's the attire for them?
That's a really good question. And one of the details that I explain to couples is you really have to have, just in general, a very professional vendor team, a very welcoming and helpful vendor team, not a vendor that says, okay, well, that's not my job. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, your job is customer service, and all those guests don't know what your job is. They just know that you're working that day and that you're helping. And so it's all hands on deck to make that event amazing for that couple. So I think it's just being on board and giving it your all and dressing professionally. I tell couples all the time, you have to hire professional vendors. One of the things that I think people would be disappointed about if they were asked to dress in black tie is if they came to an event and there weren't professional vendors, or maybe the DJ acted like he didn't really know what he was doing, or maybe there was no team welcoming guests, or no wedding planner, no one really in charge. Those are all very important details. The vendor team is a huge part of the event.
Yeah. I mean, we got to communicate with each other. Like you said, right now, saying it's not my job, it's just not the way to go. I mean, I've been at weddings where, things are running behind and the florist is arriving or the DJ setting up or I don't know. I can't think of a specific example, but it's like, hey, if I'm already done with my setup and if I'm just there,
I'm willing to help. Like I've been in that situation where like I see people still setting up while, guests are about to arrive. And, I always tell my team, I'm like, be a team player. Like if you see somebody bringing in flowers or somebody doing this or somebody doing that, offer to help. If we're already done with our setups, offer to help. Like it's because who knows, we might need it. We might need some help sometime too.
On event day, there's always help needed.
No, seriously. Like it's always, things, of course, you guys, you have a timeline that you have to go based off, but things happen and, you might be running late or, things can be just, it's a stressful day just in general. For us, of course, we try to not make it stressful for the couple, for the guests, for the people that are coming to the party. But, sometimes things happen. Have you ever had, now this is my favorite part of the episode because I wanna hear the juicy stuff here. Have you ever had, if you're obviously you're doing a black tie wedding, and have you ever had a situation where somebody shows up and they're really not dressed accordingly? And if you have, what happened?
It happens every single time. And I think that's why couples are worried when they have a certain dress code. They're worried that someone will show up. And it's just inevitable.
Has there ever been like drama where like the bride or the couple, they're like, no, we can't let them in because they're not, everybody's wearing black and they're wearing like red or,
No, I think it would be even worse. It would be not very gracious. They obviously missed the memo and you wouldn't want to embarrass them.
Yeah.
And I think they're already feeling bad enough by looking around and seeing what everyone else is wearing and they like, darn it.
Yeah. I feel like, for example, with, like at least, like the, my family, like, I don't think like my sister, for example, like she would never do a black tie wedding or, like my brother wouldn't do a black tie wedding because I know, us as Mexicans, we normally don't care. I'm a wedding vendor, so I know that you need to respect certain things. But like, for example, and this is a great example, like with my sister, when she had the sweet 16 for my niece, my niece wanted it a certain way.
Aww.
But then my sister was like, we can't ask people to dress a certain way because we, Mexicans don't care. We don't care. We're just going to show up however we want to show up. So my niece was all like, oh, man, like I really wanted a certain way. But my sister was like, no, I know my people and they're not going to respect it. But in a way, I guess like this is a two-person job, like as a couple. Yeah, obviously, your crowd. So,
right.
So in advance, you already know what you're getting yourself into. Have you ever had any discussions, with your couples to where like they want to go a certain route? Let's say, for example, in this case, black tie, but then there's like, the bride wants something, the groom wants something different. Have you ever encountered like where they're deciding if they want to do black tie or not?
Not really different. It's in opinions in that regard. Usually they're on the same board, but I have had couples worried, like, well, people know what to dress, and there are several ways that you can catch guests. First of all, black tie needs to be written in the lower right corner on the wedding invitation that goes out. So it's given to them by hand. They receive it in the mail and they see it on the invitation. So that's the first connection with the expectation. Then usually on a reception card, we'll have the wedding website address. People will go because they have to RSVP.
Yeah.
So on that RSVP page, we usually suggest let's have it there written again, just in case people forget. They can see it again when they RSVP. Now people are even getting so creative where they are making like Pinterest boards of,
and they send them out.
Yes, or they put it on the wedding website under the frequent asked questions section on their wedding website. They list the question, what is the dress code, or what should I wear? And we can put a Pinterest link where people can click and see, okay, these are the types of clothes that I should be wearing, so they understand.
I think that is one of my favorite things, just in general, because I'm a visual person. Mm-hmm. So yeah, when people say like, oh, it's black tie, or it's cocktail attire, or it's, business professional, or, sometimes people don't really have an idea what that even means.
Right.
So I think including a link to a Pinterest mood board, I think that is such a cool idea, just to make their life easier when they're selecting their attire.
Right. I had a bride once tell me, "Oh, I want to do black tie because I'm just worried someone's going to wear jeans."
Oh.
And I said, "Well, dear, there are several other dress codes that are between black tie and casual, and this is what they are." So there are a few others. If you're like, well, I think I'd like for my wedding to be formal, but I don't want to require someone to have to rent a tuxedo or someone to have to wear a floor length gown. I want to give a little more freedom with the attire. You can do what's called black tie preferred.
Okay.
Also known as black tie optional, but I kind of prefer black tie preferred. That means that you prefer for everyone to wear black tie, but
it's not a must.
It's not a requirement. If you just did not get a chance to go and get fit for a tuxedo, but you have a lovely dark suit in the closet that you wear to all of your weddings, it is welcomed. Also, ladies can wear a cocktail dress, a midi or knee-length cocktail dress. Every lady has a little black dress.
Yeah.
So if they also did not get a chance to go shopping, they have something.
It's acceptable. Yeah. Okay.
It's acceptable.
I like that. I learned a few things today.
And then you have cocktail attire, which is very similar to semi-formal. But it just eliminates the black tie altogether. So gentlemen, other than those that are in the wedding party, are not required to wear a tuxedo, or it's not even suggested. And ladies have a little more freedom in the attire. They are not required to wear a floor-length gown, but they are required to wear a cocktail dress. And then for the more, I guess, more not casual, but less formal would be what's called semi-formal. And those events usually start in the daytime. So gentlemen can wear a sport coat or a light colored suit. Ladies can even wear like a dressy pantsuit or a nice skirt or a pretty dress that they might wear to church.
I love it. Thank you so much, Caroline. We are running out of time. I learned a lot today. I am obsessed. I'm going to go look up black tie mood boards now. But okay, so I want you to tell our listeners where they can find you. I want them to see your work. Maybe if somebody wants to get in contact with you, how can they reach out to you?
Thank you. We're on Instagram at Volare Planning, and our website address is volareplanning.com.
Perfect. There you have it, guys. Thank you so much again. I'm so excited that you finally were able to make it out to us. And I'm sure our listeners are going to be so excited to hear everything black tie related. Thank you so much, Caroline.
Thank you.
All right, guys. There you have it. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Tipsy Guest podcast. If you know someone who could benefit from these tips, spread the love and share it with them. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Next round's on us. Same time, same place. Cheers! This podcast is brought to you by MVP Photo Booth, the #1 photo booth rental company in San Antonio, Austin, and Central Texas.